This final part of the set of videos will show the location of Plato's Atlantic island. One crucial clue in Plato's writings will give the island's exact location. Plato gives precise measurements for a vast, fertile plain in the middle of the Atlantic island. These are Plato's most important measurements to locate the Atlantic island. Looking towards the sea, but in the centre of the whole island, there was a plain. It was smooth and even, and of an oblong shape, extending in one direction 3,000 stadia, but across the centre inland it was 2,000 stadia. Plato's stated dimensions of 3,000 by 2,000 stadia are about 630 kilometres by 420 kilometres. That means the plain of Atlantis had an area of about 265,000 square kilometres. If a location for Atlantis does not include Plato's dimensions for the plain of Atlantis, it is not the Atlantic island. For a size comparison, the plain of Atlantis was larger than the state of Colorado, USA, and far larger than the island of Great Britain or the island of Honshu, Japan. Any proposed area above sea level cannot be the Atlantic island. The plain of Atlantis and other parts of the Atlantic island must now be underwater. It excludes land features such as the Richat structure in North Africa or sites in southern Spain. Another of Plato's clues to the Atlantic island's location is that large mountains surrounded the plain of Atlantis. Plato states, "The surrounding mountains were celebrated for their number and size and beauty." The whole country was said by him to be very lofty and precipitous on the side of the sea. This part of the island looked towards the south. The term lofty and precipitous on the side of the sea likely means there were sea cliffs on the southern coast of the Atlantic island. When taken together, Plato's statements mean the plain of Atlantis was surrounded by mountain ranges to the east, north and west, with a long sea cliff to the south. It's worth spending time looking at alternative locations for Plato's Atlantic island. Besides Plato insisting the Atlantic island was in the Atlantic Ocean, no location inside the Mediterranean can fit a plain the size Plato describes. This image shows an overlay of the size of the plain of Atlantis over the Aegean Sea. The frequent explanation of the island of Santorini or anywhere else within the Aegean is impossible. Other locations such as the Black Sea, Malta, Sardinia, or anywhere else within the Mediterranean are equally impossible. There isn't enough room anywhere in the Mediterranean for the plain, let alone the entire Atlantic island with its great mountain ranges. There are several suggested locations for the Atlantic island outside the Mediterranean. Unlike Plato's description of the Atlantic island, none of these locations is opposite the Straits of Heracles. These include the Canary and Madeira Islands. They are off the coast of Africa and too far south to be opposite the Straits of Heracles. There are also Britain, Ireland, Finland, Sweden, and various sunken landmasses in the North Sea, which are too far north to be opposite the Straits of Heracles. None of these sites has ever had an area above sea level near the size of the Great Plain of Atlantis. Opposite the Straits of Heracles and located well outside the Mediterranean, there is a geological structure called the North Atlantic Ridge. The Azores Islands sit on this underwater ridge, and they are often suggested as the location of the Atlantic island. There is no evidence for a landmass the size of the plain of Atlantis ever being above sea level on this part of the North Atlantic Ridge. Looking opposite the Mediterranean towards the Americas, is there a submerged landmass the size of the plain of Atlantis? According to Plato, it should be surrounded by mountains on three sides, to the west, north and east. No submerged landmass fits Plato's description once you exclude the North Atlantic Ridge. There is nothing in the North Atlantic, nor directly off the coast of North America or South America. Plato states the Atlantic island was the way to other islands, and from these you might pass to the whole of the opposite continent which surrounded the true ocean. The Caribbean is the only region that will fit an Atlantic island of 1 million square kilometres. Also, there are many islands in the Caribbean next to the opposite continent of the Americas. The Eastern Caribbean is the only place for Plato's dimensions for the plain of Atlantis. They are an accurate fit for the submerged structure called the Venezuelan Basin, which is located on the floor of the Eastern Caribbean. The submerged Venezuelan basin is flat and rectangular. It is about 700 kilometres by 400 kilometres, which is very close to Plato's dimensions of 630 kilometres by 420 kilometres for the plain of Atlantis. The surrounding mountains of the plain of Atlantis are the submerged Beato Ridge to the west, the present islands of Hispaniola and Puerto Rico to the north, and the submerged Aves Ridge to the east. There is some geological evidence that the now submerged land masses were once above sea level. Combined, they would have formed the entire Atlantic island of about 1 million square kilometres. An Atlantic island in the Caribbean is exactly what the ancient Egyptians Solon and Plato described: a large plain surrounded on three sides by long mountain ranges west, north and east, with no mountains to the south. Plato describes the destruction of the Atlantic island and the prehistoric Athenian Acropolis inhabited by the Athenian warrior class. Afterwards, there occurred violent earthquakes and floods, and in a single day and night of misfortune, all your warlike men in a body sank into the earth, and the island of Atlantis in like manner disappeared in the depths of the sea. One common misunderstanding of Plato's description is that the Atlantic island was destroyed in a single day and night of misfortune. A single day and night of misfortune describes how prehistoric Athens was destroyed, not how long it took for the Atlantic island to sink below sea level. Athens had torrential rain for a day and a night, which saturated the land on the prehistoric Athenian Acropolis. The rain was followed by large earthquakes that caused a devastating mudslide where the Athenian warrior class in a body sank into the earth. Plato states, the island of Atlantis in like manner disappeared in the depths of the sea. In like manner to prehistoric Athens means the Atlantic island sank due to violent earthquakes and floods. But that does not mean it happened in a single day and night like the destruction in prehistoric Athens. The sinking of the great Atlantic island would have been much more gradual. It would have taken hundreds, if not thousands of years of downward movement to be where it is now at the bottom of the Eastern Caribbean Sea. This video is not the place to explain the existence of the Atlantic island or why it sank to where it is now. My book describes millions of years of Caribbean geology to answer those questions. There are two main things this video is trying to show you. Firstly, regardless of what academics think, Plato believed the story of Atlantis was actual history, not a myth. Plato states the Atlantis story is a tale which, though strange, is certainly true. Plato believes that the Egyptians accurately recorded the exact details of the Atlantis story for thousands of years before Solon went to Egypt. He believed that Solon accurately translated the story from the Egyptians' records. Secondly, if Plato did write accurate details about the Atlantic island, the Eastern Caribbean is the only place that completely fits his descriptions. There is an exact fit for his dimensions of the plain of Atlantis. It is the Venezuelan basin. The plains surrounding mountains are there. They are the Beato and Aves ridges and the islands of Hispaniola and Puerto Rico. The total size of the Atlantic island, if it were once again entirely above sea level, would be about 1 million square kilometres. It was larger than Libya and Asia put together, as Plato described it. I hope this set of videos gives you a sense that Plato's Atlantis story is a true account and not a myth. There is much more to the Atlantis story than shown in these videos. Plato gives vivid details of the Atlantic island, Atlantean civilization, and prehistoric Athens. Many of you will want to know more of what Plato wrote. There is a rational explanation for his many details in my book, Plato's Caribbean Atlantis. That includes a geological explanation for what happened to the enormous Atlantic island in the Caribbean. Plato's story of a great lost civilization has been a timeless mystery. The Atlantean civilization developed thousands of years before civilization appeared anywhere else on Earth. If Plato was right about the Atlantic island, as he repeatedly says in the Timaeus and Critias dialogues, I believe the mystery is finally solved. Now, someone has to look in the right place for physical evidence to confirm Plato's Atlantis story.